added a lot. And so I feel like bringing something like that back would be cool. Maybe just a falls count anywhere type of belt. I don't know what you would call it necessarily, but or maybe call it the Extreme Rules belt. And instead of having a pay-per-view, have a belt with that type of stipulation. Um, I feel like you need more kind of mid-card things to add to the charm of the show, because otherwise you have three feuds going on, one for the main title, one for the women's title, and one for the Intercontinental slash US title. And then sometimes you'll also have a tag team feud. That's not even necessarily always the case with tag teams. Sometimes it's just, like they had the Fatal Four Way, we were like, two of them were in feuds. Well, like two of them were in feuds, and then the other two are just kind of there because. So I don't know. I feel like you need to have more for people to be doing stuff with. So that way the feuds have some sort of like authority behind the feuds. Um, I'll do one more round here. Unless I get off on another rant, in which case I will do more than that. Um, I what is going on here? Why does this keep happening? This didn't do this before. Um, the So I feel like you need to add more championships, and I feel like they need to do more with more of the roster, because otherwise you just have the same two or three feuds, and it's kind of, ooh, pretty. You have the same two or three feuds, and they're kind of and after a while you get tired because it's just the same people interacting all the time. And so that's the biggest problem I have with Raw right now. Is like I said, they only really use five of their talents, and they have a lot of talents on Raw. They got more of the picks because they picked a couple of stables if I remember correctly, and two, they got both the first and last pick if I remember. Um, and they're not doing much with any of them. Like Sami Zayn, who I still think deserves a lot more than he's getting anyway. His big thing was taking on a guy bigger than him, and if I remember correctly, he won once, which is super awesome and great. And it shows that he's a tough guy, and they're not giving him any chances for any championships. And the greatest thing I ever heard was when they were considering sending him over to SmackDown, and that they were going to trade for Eva Marie was the big disappointment, because then they were like, I'm not going to do that. I'm worth more than 10 Eva Maries or whatever. And, well, I just need you to be showing that you're tough because you need to prove to me that you need to, or that you can take on Braun Strowman. You need tenacity. Yeah, whatever. All that nonsense. I was disappointed with where that went because I was excited by the thought of him being on on SmackDown, because there's more talent that he can interact with, and I feel like he would be treated better under Shane and Daniel Bryan's care than he was under Stephanie and Mick Foley's care. I feel like there's a lot more lighter heavyweight division members on SmackDown. You have more like Dean Ambrose sized people, more that same kind of middle build tough guy who is still formidable and still tenacious, but they're of a like build. I also feel like Sammy could almost fit in with the cruiserweight style. I feel like he could build up a little bit more of a high flying style if he wanted, because I just feel like he has the talent to do that kind of stuff. I like Sammy, and I really want to see more from him, and like I said, I feel like SmackDown would treat him better, so I was really excited when they were talking about possibly sending him over. I like the Wyatt family, so I'm not sure what to think of Braun Strowman on his own, because Braun Strowman... Well, as a person, I like Braun, because he's apparently a real goofball in real life. So, let me guess, you can't get onto the surface. He's a complete goofball in real life, apparently. Like, you can just look up online. There's lots of silly stuff he's done. He seems like a good guy. And, so I like him as a person, but his character is that same flat, one-dimensional, I'm gonna beat up everybody kind of guy. And I don't know what to think of that. I'm pretty disappointed by that concept. It's never really worked for me. What's this? Hi. Blonde hair. Now I can see how this seems very earthboundy. No face. Not to be confused with No Face. Okay, I don't understand what this is for then, if I can't interact with anything in here. I was hoping that I would unlock another effect in here. Oh, that's... something about a Uboa here. Because I saw, like, a screen segment on a video, and Uboa appears when the room is like this. You don't really care that someone comes in and just shuts off the light in your house? You turn it back on, though, at least. Did these do anything? Doesn't look like it. But yeah, so they have more, like, medium build guys, because, like, of his build, there's pretty much just, like, him and Seth. And Chris Jericho, I guess. But they have... Why does it feel like they're... I guess it's just because they do more with the stars on SmackDown that you feel like there's more stars. And I don't even know if that's true. I mean, they have a lot more tag teams that I remember. Because they have, like, American Alpha, and they have, what is it called? Fashion Police, I guess is what they're called. They have, the Wyatt family, they have Golden Truth, I mean, like, they have more names that I just remember off the top of my head. They have the Usos, if I remember correctly, as well. Because if I remember correctly, that's who was the other could possibly win the tag teams, win the Wyatts, yada yada blah blah. And so yeah, they definitely have that. They have Ambrose, and they have The Miz, and they have, I don't know, it just feels like they have more stars, which is odd because if I remember correctly, Raw drew more people. Whereas like Slater and Rhino and Cesaro and Sheamus is pretty much all I really care for on the tag side of Raw, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. Oh, well, no. If they continue to do good things with the Bullet Club, I will be fine with that. But they've done so much disrespect to the Bullet Club that I'm kind of amazed that they didn't just ask to exit their contract early and go back to Japan. Because they've just made them dorks instead of giving them the imposing and threatening personalities that their build and their style permits. And so I don't like that. And then there's the New Day, which I kind of liked when I first started tuning in, and then I got really tired of them being champions, and then I just got really tired of them in general, which is too bad because the people themselves, I like all three of them. I like Big E, I like Xavier Woods, and I like Kofi Kingston. From everything I've heard of them as people, they seem like really fun guys, and their quirks are great. But I really was sick and tired of watching for a year and them being the only champions. I know why they were doing it because they were trying to set new records, but here's the problem. Because of the fact that the WWE, which was at the time the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Championship, if I remember correctly, Bruno Sammartino held it for like 7 years straight. So that one's never going to be broken. And there were less shows to have to deal with, if I remember correctly, when several of the different records were set, which meant that the long reigns were not dragged on and on and on like they are on the current shows. I don't really feel like the long reigns add anything to the championships. Honestly, I feel kind of like sometimes they subtract from the championships. I feel like when Charlotte had the women's title forever. At one point I was like, you know what, I really don't care to watch a women's match anymore. It's not because the women aren't talented, but it's because the same one character always wins. It was the same thing with the tag team for me on Raw. I was like, okay, well then I guess I'll just wait and watch the tag team championship titles after they get the Demolition's record, so that way I don't have to waste my time when I already know the ending to the match. And there typically weren't any super amazing spots in a lot of those matches, so it would have just been wasted time. So I did other things when there were tag team matches. I didn't care. So long reigns don't appeal to me at all. Like, to me, more than 6 months holding a championship, you better have a reason. And even then, give someone else a chance. It stales the championship to me. It'll be like, oh, okay, well, I don't really care anymore. Whatever, do something else. All right, I'm stuck in this water too long. So give more championships and don't have the reigns be as long. Use all of the people on your roster instead of just the same 5. You know, just things that seem like they would be common sense to someone when they're booking something, especially when certain people have like a huge following behind them. Like Sami Zayn has a lot of people who really, really, really like him, and yet they do nothing with him. And I know they're saying, well, the fans can't tell us what to do in a sense because they don't want to be dictated exactly how to do the show when they have writers who they already hired to do that. But it's really irritating when you have people who are liked. Like okay, so here's the thing. Just because of the popularity they have, the kind of quirks that they have, their personality, and the fact that they're loved in very similar ways, I really felt like it could have been cool if they had like a story-wise Sami Zayn Becky Lynch power couple. I feel like it would have worked well if, like, he had the IC title and she had the women's title, and for a little while they were, just like a power couple on TV. I feel like it would have been, you know, an interesting little thing, and I find the same liking in both of them. I enjoy the same kind of underdog, sort of punkish kind of personality that both of them have. Ambrose is the ultimate kind of punk personality when it comes to the show, but just something about both of them kind of elicits the same thought in me, I guess is the best way of explaining it. And so I enjoy that kind of. I feel like it could have been an interesting idea. That's just my thoughts. Doop doop. Um, but yeah, so like I feel like they have these talents who they really should do more with than they do. And Sami Zayn, I guess, is my keep coming back to him example because he is talented, he's charming, he's agile, and he's tough, which are all things that you would want in someone who is a champion, and they won't make him a champion for some reason. Even though, if I remember correctly, he was like maybe the two-time NXT champion? I don't remember. I don't know very much about NXT. I learned more about NXT in the last like 6 months than most of the other stuff. But yeah, so I feel like they should have done more with him instead of making him kind of this, oh, and he's also going to be on the TV, so you should watch the TV, please, kind of person. Give him a freaking championship. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, do more with the people you have. Uh, More championships, shorter reigns for championships. I do like that they are at least having the championship sometimes won on regular TV because it makes the championships feel less scripted. If you only are going to have the competitions for the titles at pay-per-views, then I can kind of understand only having title changes at pay-per-views because that's the only time someone's going to actually be competing for them. But come back here, buddy, 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 buddy. Come on. I know you got a thingy for me. Come on. Am I holding the right button? Dude, you are hyperactive. Do you not have anything? Oh, what? Annoying. I thought I'd found something finally in this one. Have an NXT call up more often. You have plenty of developed characters now on NXT that could totally move up to the main roster. I won't really say much about some of the things because obviously they're no-goes, like, CM Punk's never coming back. They burned that bridge. They screwed that one up. Sure, he was outspoken. Sure, he was brash. Sure, he might have even been arrogant for all I know, because I don't know much about him behind the scenes. But he was hugely over with the fans to the point where the fans still sometimes ruin commentary in the background by shouting CM Punk in completely irrelevant places. But he was a talented guy. He had a ton of charisma, and he had mostly unrivaled mic skills during his time on TV. So that's the thing that they kind of lost out on by doing that. Come on, I just want to boop you. There we go. I booped you. But yeah, so I'd like to see some of the NXT talent come up. Maybe even just have like times where the NXT talent will come up for just like a day and cause some trouble and get some kind of public attention stirring and then still be in NXT. Like, calling out a former NXT star and like, I may still be down in development or whatever, but one of these days I'm gonna come up here and beat you, and then they have like one fight on TV, and then people be like, who the heck was that? And then him like disappear for a while, and then like come back up again and cause some trouble, and then just go back down to NXT, win the NXT championship, and then like he comes back up to the main roster holding the championship, saying like, look, I'm the biggest guy over there. You don't have a gold around your shoulder, do you? I could take you on right now. And then they have like another fight, and it builds like this feud that kind of is intermittent, that has people asking, like, who the heck is this guy? Maybe I should tune into NXT and figure out who this guy is and watch the matches. And then that would build up some of that. They could be like, well, you can only really learn about him if you subscribe to the network because that's where NXT is, I feel like there could be something done with that. Hey there, arcade cabinet guy. You're my favorite guy. What it, doot, 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 doot. Let's see. I know that WWE is so arrogant in their promotion that they would never do it, but I feel like cross-promotion things would work well, They're obviously not going to work with TNA. They want nothing to do with Jeff Jarrett because of the bad blood between him and Vince. Which also means Global Force Wrestling is out, which is too bad because Global Force to me has the prettiest championship titles. I really like the titles in Global Force. But you could have like an NJPW inner pay-per-view kind of thing where, half of their talent comes and fights with half of WWE's talent, and then you call up Shinsuke Nakamura and they're like, hey, look, we got one of your guys, you don't have one of our guys, and then they're like, well, actually, we've got Kurt Angle, and then call Kurt Angle back, and like, which I don't think he's actually with them right now. I think he's been free from them for like 2 or 3 years, actually, but it was just kind of an example. And then they have, like that one where it's like a reverse promotion where they have someone who used to be on one and is now on the other. Hopefully 2 people who left on positive terms, and have, something like that. I feel like that could do something. Or do something with Lucha Underground, or, do something with, I don't think they're on bad terms with Ring of Honor. Do something with Ring of Honor. I mean, obviously they're competition, so in that way they have some level of bad blood, I suppose. But I feel like you could have some of those cross promotions to build up both brands. And the reason that it makes sense for... Sweet! That's gonna be the one I use all the time now. That is not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. It looks kind of janky to me. I don't know. I can't really tell what's going on with this side. But yeah, so this is a doorway, I'm guessing? No. Why not? Yeah, so Ring of Honor, for example, the reason that it could benefit both brands is because to the underground, like the indie scene, as it were, you could have the big name draw and people saying, "Oh, what's this Ring of Honor thing? I could tune into that," and have wrestling fans find out, from TV that there's this other cool stuff to watch. And for WWE, what it could do is it could have the indie scene only fans be like, well, it's pretty cool that they're interacting with the indie scene. Maybe there's something worth tuning into on WWE. And so I feel like there is a completely legitimate, okay, I'm going to the red area, I guess. Completely legitimate reason to have some sort of crossover, even if it's like a pay-per-view or a single show thing or whatever. But I just feel like there's more things they could do. I wrote like a whole story before the brand split of what you could do to build up Bray Wyatt and make him look super freaking strong and have a championship thing, and then it'd be like a couple of, I think it ended up being like a half a year's worth of story or something, and it probably was a little bit on the extreme side, but I thought it was pretty cool. Dude, you freaking get away from me, lady. I don't like you. You mess up everything I do. Um, but yeah, so I guess that's my. I've had a really long rant on wrestling, and I've had a really long rant on video games that kind of spoiled some stories, which is why I tried to preface it, because I realized that what I was gonna say at some point I was like, oh crap, that's gonna be a spoiler. But I wanted to voice my thoughts, and I was already partway through the discussion at that point. So there's some senseless ramblings. Here in a minute, I'm probably gonna log off because I do have to work tomorrow early. Hopefully early enough that I'll be able to get off, and maybe Shin can come over if he is available. Though I don't know that he will be available. My luck has been pretty low on that lately, as you can see by the fact that there haven't been any new streams in like 6 days or something. It sucks. I don't like it. I don't like it. I also don't like having only one day off. I have one day off, 2 days on, one day off, 2 days on, one day off, 3 days on, one day off, 3 days on, 2 days off. That's my schedule. And even on those days off, sometimes I'm just friggin' tired and then I can't stream. And I don't like that either because I kind of really wanted this to be a daily thing. I like doing that, but there aren't many games that I can play. As I've said before, I'm not as patient as Shin or Izzy, so that's why I usually let them do the playing and I do the commentary. That's why even though I quote unquote played Undertale, Shin did most of the controlling. I was mostly there, dictating what it was we were supposed to do. I suck at bullet hell. That's the worst part. Ah, you are the worst. Let's just get it over with. Yes, yes. Um, Most of what I'll be doing are like point and clicks and puzzles, but I haven't been in a mood for point and click because sometimes you have like the convoluted logic, and I just haven't felt like thinking that hard, honestly. Um, I do have several saved. I was almost going to do Roller Coaster Tycoon, and then I was like, I don't really want to have to draw roller coasters. um, I don't know. I felt pretty lazy, and so then I was like, hey, I've been told Yume Nikki's really interesting, and it doesn't have anything that you like super have to like mega focus on, except apparently running away from whatever that jerk is. But yeah, so that's where I will be for today. So thanks for watching. I will be on the next time I find the ability to be on, possibly tomorrow, especially if someone comes over. We'll hopefully stream. I don't know though. I make no guarantees because it seems like the last 5 or 6 times I've made guarantees, I've had to go on the Discord and explain Oh, hey everybody. Sorry, I didn't realize that X was busy, or something came up and X can't come over, or X is sick, or whatever, and it's kind of screwed everything up. So I am going to avoid making a guarantee because that hasn't worked so well for me in the past. But I will try and get some more stuff that I can have videos of. I don't really like it when my backlog runs out. I want to be able to have at least enough videos uploadable that if I'm off for a few days, I at least have something on YouTube for people who've missed the streams. And I have like 4 videos left right now, plus whatever this ends up cutting down to. Which is probably only going to be 4 or 5 videos because I started, I think, at 8 o'clock. But either way, I will try and be on again whenever I have the mental strength. And thanks for watching. I will hopefully see you guys again soon. How do I exit this game? Do I just press the exit button, or is there like a quit button? There it is. End game and return to menu. Maze. Yume Nikki. Good night.